A very good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of Global Morning. This is a Sunday morning and it is actually very wonderful that we are all still alive. My name is Ubong Musora, welcoming you to the program, and I have, as always, a very delectable and adorable Sadia Yakubu by my side as we do this show together this morning. A very good morning to you, Sadia.
Good morning, Ubong Musora. Happy Sunday, happy weekend. How has it been from Monday to this very day?
I don't know how it was from Monday to, but I know yesterday was okay. Let's stop it there.
I will stop here. I will push further because I don't want me and any other person watching to hear our little secrets. So let's just keep it cool. Yes, a very good morning to all our viewers around the world and in Nigeria. My name is Sadia Yakubu saying welcome to Global Morning Weekend Edition, where me and my best friend Ubong Usoro will take you through so many segments.
All right, so absolutely, that's what we do when we come on the show. We learn, we get to be educated, we get to be entertained, and we just get to share information and make sure that as you're at home, relaxing, just having fun, you have a companion, and we have decided to give you that companionship. But let's talking about companionship. Let's come with stories. We'll go for a short break, Sadia, right?
Yeah, we'll go for a short break, and when we'll come back with newspaper review, where we'll tell you about current happenings, different headlines from different daily newspapers in Nigeria.
All right.
So don't go nowhere. Stay glued, stay connected.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debates, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, so welcome back to the program, and this is where we get to look at the newspaper. So, Sadia, which paper are we looking at first?
The first newspaper we're going to look at this wonderful morning is the Tribune newspaper, Sunday edition of the Tribune newspaper. And our first story, mixed reactions over 2027 elections timetable. NAS delaying process to box INEC into a corner, Okori. Why INEC should not wait on lawmakers, Okoye. Amopitam must strive to promote sanctity of ballots. TNG. What's the meaning of that, Ubong? Senators back INEC express worry over likely clash with Ramadan. I'm very much interested in these very stories because Senators back INEC express worry over likely clash with Ramadan. We'll start Ramadan on 18th, that is the fasting. And this FCT election will also take place during Ramadan. I think 3 days after Ramadan, on the 3rd day of Ramadan. So you staying without eating, without drinking, the little energy you have for a foodie like me, how do I do that? It's not easy, it's not funny at all.
Right. I've seen that that argument being advanced.
People, for we media, will just cover and then maybe we'll take a little break and rest. But what about the INEC staffs? Then they will come back to when they will start accounting. And then this process will take up to the time that they will break fast, the iftar time. So to me,
some persons have, you know, I've seen some argument being advanced that
I could recall there was a time when I think one election during the former chairman of INEC, the election was going to take place, I think, within the Easter period, and people protest, and as a result of that, he then they had to step back, like shift the date for the election during that period, but I can't really recall what election it was again.
Right, like you said, the argument has been advanced, and people I've seen, you know, people posted that a lot of Nigerians may be disenfranchised.
Yeah.
Already we have voter party. Even without Ramadan, a lot of people don't want to come out and vote. So you now give some that would have wanted to come out and vote more reasons not to come out and vote and just say I'm tired and all. So I think the government should, INEC as an institution should look into all of these things, because Nigeria is a multi-ethnic and multicultural society and multi-religious society, and we should be able to, you know, position these things. If we don't conduct elections during the month of Ramadan, it doesn't take anything away. We can do it, you know, 1 week after Ramadan. We can do it even 5 days after Ramadan.
And that would be very, very better, very, very good.
Yeah,
because it's not going to be easy.
So the government, INEC itself should also look at it. I think that they've heard the arguments, and they should look at it. But also, I'm worried because I know that in the top echelon of INEC, they have a lot of people who are from both religions, right? Yeah. That should be able to see all of these things and advise promptly, right? From the INEC commissioner in charge of voter education. I know Malami is even a scholar, right, in Islam. So I don't understand sometimes when they make these things. Is it that they don't have input, or maybe it's just a department?
What really happened as regards to these dates was during the tenure of the former INEC chairman, he fixed this date without checking the Islamic calendar.
But he's a Muslim, the former
He's a Muslim. So he was supposed, I want to just believe, because we are humans.
Maybe he forgot, skipped his mind, could skip anybody's mind, right?
Yeah, the date has already been picked. It's not really the fault of the
chairman. And he's just following the timetable.
Yes,
I know INEC has the
timetable. Yeah, so that's what really happened.
All right, so let's check out the stories now.
Moving on to the next story.
Go ahead.
Enugu government, Hela Group, launched $20 million factory to manufacture smartphones, other gadgets.
This is good. We have phones being manufactured in Nigeria. We could see maybe the prices of phones will come down. Right? Maybe, especially because hopefully this will be maybe Android products. So you could see, instead of buying Androids down for, how much are they selling Android? You'll not know. You'll not have an idea. You cannot know how much they are selling Android, because you and Android, you people are not.
Android is like this.
Exactly. But I would know.
Yeah. So let me ask you the question: how much is Android?
I don't know, because the last time I went near Android, it was not very costly. All right, so but we have this common. We could see prices of phones come down in the country, right? Because you shouldn't. In the US, for instance, one of the most costly phone goes for about $800. That's 1.something million naira. But if the economy was good, that should be around, let's say if the dollar was to 500 or even 200, that should be around 250, 300,000. So these gadgets are not as expensive as it is for other people outside. But it's just that our economy, we're struggling. So
really struggling.
And people seem to make make jest of, oh, I'm using a phone of 1.6 million.
Yeah.
But in other places, it's like a secondary school child can afford that phone by his savings. He can afford $800 if he has a savings of, let's say, $100 per month. He can do it at the end of the year. But in Nigeria, because of how the economy is bad, somebody will say, oh, my phone is 1.6 million.
No, you don't even need to tell you. So you just get hold of that brand, and then if they want to snap or they want to talk, they just start turning the phone so that you notice. Or if they are snapping, they just go to mirror and then snap like this so that you will see the phone, and then you know that, this is a big bag.
And some of them, they don't even have a job. That's the saddest part. People do not have jobs, are using, they'll still call you and ask for 2K.
I told you that day, we did a program.
I cannot give you. If you are using a phone that is better than my own, I cannot give you.
I told you that some people will buy phone to impress people, and then they will start bothering you.
For recharge
struggling
card.
with your Android and your small phone. I beg, help me with 2K. I'm hungry. Do this for me. A few minutes time, you see them snapping with that phone and posting. In fact, some might even go to the extent of tagging you. so you see, that's
there's
the
one of
world
our
we
colleagues
live
that I
now,
really like, Abdul, my guy. He doesn't even send. Whether you give him phone or not.
So long as he has a medium of communication,
yes,
he can reach out to you, you can reach out to him. He doesn't care. Yeah, let's move on to the next story.
All right, so we're taking other stories on the Tribune this morning. The next story says, we are businessmen, not terrorists. Mayeti Allah, leader cries out.
Mayeti Allah, that's a Fulani group. And the next story from me, bandits attack Niger again. Oh my goodness. Kill 33, set 2 police stations, houses ablaze. And that's on page 2 over Sunday Tribune. Then Juma hails Trump for creating awareness on Nigerians escalating insecurity, and that's on page 5. While insecurity has fostered retired Rear Admiral Buba or Bobal. Help me out.
Bombay.
Bombay reveals, and that's on page 11.
Presidency seeks El Rufai's probe over tapping of NSS phone. And Agungu Fishing Festival winner smiles on with 1 million naira and a car. The president was in KB, to participate in this age-long tradition of the Agungu Fishing Festival, one of the biggest festivals we have in Nigeria. And I saw that fish, I think 65 kg. Yeah, and the state governor gave the fisherman 1 million naira and a car. But idea a car for a fisherman, because when I saw this, I was thinking,
what kind of car?
Does he really need a car?
Yeah, so maybe that's why I'm asking the kind of car, the brand.
This is a salon car.
Maybe there's a way he can use it in running his business.
Fishing business.
Yes, I have seen.
Is a canoe not better?
No. Let me explain. I have seen a fisherman along Games Village. You see him parked with his Peugeot. 406. He transports his fish from the river in his car and then drop it down and then start selling. So it's a means of transportation that will ease that affair. Maybe this one he might. That's why I'm asking the kind of car. Let's see if it's what he can just do a business.
Car, okay, so if it's for business, good, because I really thought about it and I was like,
and then he will transport. He will not only carry his own fish, he would carry other people with their own fish as well.
And maybe even get money.
Yeah, and they're making extra money from there. So let me just believe that's it too.
Right, because okay, so let's go to it.
The next paper is Sunday Vanguard.
All right, the Vanguard newspaper lead story says APC's 29th versus Opposition 7, 2027. And there's a picture story showing all of the states that have been captured by All Progressive ruling. All Progressive Congress, that's the ruling APC. And we have APC have more states. You have PDP with a few states, APGA 1 state, Accord 1 state, and Labour Party 1 state. All right, so it says, how much is APC giving governors to defect? Ruling party national chairman asked hard question.
Electoral Act, tension as real-time battle shift to conference committee. And that's on page 26 or 20 rather, 20
Right.
of Sunday Vanguard.
Other story says Boko Haram trending video sparks fresh worries about captive.
Terrorists on the rampage kills 26 in Niger, burn police station, abduct schools. That's on page 5.
On the bridge where those in search for greener pastures end up destitute. It's on page 2 of the newspaper.
Exclusive justice for undergraduate son who died due to alleged hospital negligence in Ondo. And that's on page 3 of Sunday Vanguard.
Afenifere raises alarm over escalating terror in border states. It's on page 7 of the newspaper.
All right, from me, I think that's all.
All right, so
All
there's
right,
a picture
there's a story.
Yeah.
There's a story there before I go. INEC molds shift of 2027 polls, and that's on page 7.
Okay, and that discussion is still ongoing. And if there's any further development, of course, we'll make sure that we'll bring it to you. But there's a picture story with a very pretty woman called Treasure Diamond on most memorable Valentine gift. And she wears a red dress. The story is on page 16. I'm talking about Valentine. Yesterday was Valentine's, what people call Lovers' Day.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do these papers. We'll take the Nation newspaper.
All right, Sunday Punch.
Okay, Punch, right.
Yeah,
Go
Sunday
ahead.
Punch newspaper. And the lead story, Ribadu bugged phone. And El Rufai under fire as probe calls rise. That's on page 7 of Sunday Punch.
But I watched this news. I watched this
On
interview.
Arise.
Yes.
Yeah.
With Charles Alaga and then Lago something, right? And Herifai is one of the most smartest men I know, right? So I don't understand why he said that on national TV, because that's criminal. And Charles retreated to him and said, that's illegal, because even Charles as a presenter might touch him. like this is a national security advisor.
Yeah.
He's the one coordinating the security department of the president, meaning the Minister of Defense, all the heads of services, everything, security policy and coordination reports to his table.
Yeah.
That's a big office. That's a very sensitive office.
So how did you manage to
Bug his phone, meaning you listen to his calls.
conversations on
All
a
of
daily
his calls.
basis?
And these are calls that have direct implication on the lives of Nigerians. I know now people will want to play politics with this, because Erifai is in the opposition. A lot of activists that are opposition aligned will not want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I bet you if this thing was said by a government official, a lot would have gone down the drain.
Yes, yeah.
Even governments that we know that sometimes governments uses espionage to block people's phone. If they go on call, if they stand before a jury, they don't admit it.
Yeah.
They don't admit that they do it.
So
because they know the extent of the implication.
Yeah.
But on national TV, what the mind?
Well, I don't want to say anything about this issue. Let me just mention.
So for me, it's more than, because Nigerians now feel that our security is compromised. This is, for me, when I heard this statement, I looked at it beyond the layer. Who is listening to? Who is listening to the commissioner? Not my own. I don't. Anybody can listen to my call. I don't even send, right? Because I don't have any hidden thing to. But you shouldn't even listen because there's privacy, right?
That's your privacy.
But even if they want to listen to Bongo Soros' call, what is my own?
And what would they gain?
What would they? Yeah. So there's nothing implicating. But I'm talking about. We are having a very. We are suffering from national security issues.
Yeah.
All over Nigeria. You just read Niger State now, in Kwara, in Benue. And sometimes the people who are in the front line have complained that people make calls to some of these terrorists before they get to the time.
Yes.
So when they get there, they don't see them. These are threats to our people.
Our lives,
So I don't know how the government wants to do this, but I don't think they should be swept under the carpet.
No, it
The
shouldn't.
explanation should be made. Who are those that are listening? How are they listening? Why are they listening? Because if it was not an El-Rufai, if it was another person that said this, he would have been picked up that same day.
That very moment, he would be on that live TV, and they would just barge in and then pick him, and then they would go.
So
Let's just leave that matter for now. Let's watch. Let's just fold our hands and see how everything's gonna unfold. So the next story, walk us through, Bong.
It says how 36 Nigerian youths ended up in Russian-Ukraine war. This particular story has been making headlines, where we saw a Nigerian that was killed. He's fighting for Russia against Ukraine, and some of them said they didn't know that they were told they are going to be taken to one country like that. And these are the things I keep saying. If you do not have your papers, if you are not sure of where you are going, please, so that you don't be trafficked into what you don't know. For the women, you can be trafficked into prostitution.
Yeah.
For the men, look at now, which, although I don't totally believe that they didn't know they were going to Russia to look for a job.
No, some they are aware. Maybe they might have brainwashed them. You know, most of us, when you just say that I have a job for you outside the country, we don't care to ask. We don't care to check the process.
Right.
All right, if that job is legit or not. All we just want to do is Japa syndrome. You get? So they will end up falling into issues or problems like this. When you get there, you find out that the job they told you about is not what you're coming to do. Then you'll be like a slave. And they start calling for help. Whereas you have the opportunity to stay back at home, stay back in your country, start from somewhere, manage what you have until you are able to follow due process of you going outside the country. Now, Nigerian government is not asking you not to go outside the country. But then if you want to do this, follow the legal way. Do it the due process, follow the due process, and do these things, and you go out. Yes, it's not compulsory for all of us to be in Nigeria. Definitely some need to go outside, just like we have some foreigners too in Nigeria. We would also have some Nigerians outside the country, diaspora, all right? We'll say, okay, Nigerian people are outside, proudly Nigerians. But then, not on the basis of you going, someone telling you, I have a job for you. I've encountered that before when I was in 300 level. Uma was telling me that she have a job for me in Dubai. I should come to Dubai, but I shouldn't tell my parents. What's the meaning of that? I was like, why would I agree to go outside the country without telling my parents? I just told her, okay. She kept disturbing me, I just blocked her because I felt, no, it wasn't proper.
Thank God you didn't go.
Thank God I didn't go Ubong Usoro.
You know what I'm imagining? But let me keep my imagination to
Please keep
myself.
it later. I was okay about it.
All right, guys. So we need to be careful. I think that's what we are all saying.
Yes.
Not all that glitters is gold.
Gold, yeah.
I tell you, let's move. And
So,
now most of them are crying. They want to come back.
All
You are
right.
fighting in a war that does not concern you between Russia and Ukraine.
What's your business with Russia? What's your business with Ukraine? You're not the indigents or citizens. So what? Come back here. We also have insecurity issues. You
Come
can
and join
partake.
Nigerian army.
Join Nigerian army or civil defense or police.
Or
We
even
need
join
you.
vigilante.
Yes, we need you. So why going to join Ukraine and Russia when we need you here?
All right, so
Yeah,
let's take
so
other
let's
stories.
take the
U.S.
next story.
military aircraft drops ammo in Borno State. It's on page 4. That's it's talking about the fight against insecurity. Leadership is creating impact stroke value. That's coming from NIA, Nigerian Intelligence Agency DG, Odua Kele. All right, Sadia, take other stories.
This is a heart-touching story. Help! Mortuary sold my wife's body few weeks to burial. Rivers, man. That's on page 27. This is a very heart-touching story. Then the next story, wasting away inside the struggles of Nigerians, jobless first-class graduates.
At 70, I won't stop joining protest for good governance. That's coming from Pat Otome.
Niger bandits kills cause, burn houses, and that's on page 6. My heart is broken.
Yeah, we keep talking about Niger State and security issues.
I think I will try and see how we can bring in the Commissioner for Homeland Security.
Right.
Let's talk about the security situation in Niger State, because lately I don't really understand.
Yeah, and it's sad because one of the things that we must also remember is that Niger is very close to Abuja.
Yes.
So we're talking about our security. And it's not just, those are human beings. These are people. These are real life people. It is not fiction.
No.
Like maybe it's a movie. You say this is real life. People are being kidnapped. People are being maimed,
Killed, like
raped,
animals.
killed. And it's sad because they don't get to fulfill their destinies. They don't get to fulfill their potentials. The country suffers at the end of the day. So I just wish that we can end
It's a
this
bad one
insecurity.
coming from Niger. Why Niger always? Although we already...
Niger,
let's
Benue,
move. Yeah.
Niger, Plateau. This.
Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara. Please,
All right, so
move
let's
to
take the last
next
newspaper for today, and that's the Nation's newspaper.
Yeah, the Nation newspaper.
Lead story says 2027, INEC consults over poll dates and Ramadan overlap.
That's what we spoke about earlier.
Another story says Rep summon emergency session on poll timetable. Other lobbying intensify ahead of harmonization of amended electoral bill.
All right. El-Rufai under fire over NSA phone tapping claim, and that's on page 7 of the Nation newspaper.
Uru abduction, 176 children, women still in captivity. Kwara working with security agencies over terrorist video. It's on page number 6. I don't know if you've seen that video done by Boko Haram, where they were torturing some of the victims that they've captured over the years.
Arugungu Festival signals return of stability, said Tinubu. That's on page 4. Pledges stronger support for agriculture.
Oshun APC endorses Tinubu, receives 2 PDP senators and 3 House of Reps members. PDP, a court party now carcasses, says Oyetola. We saw this yesterday where there was a massive rally for 2 PDP senators in Osun State who were previously senators with the governor, Governor Ademola Adeleke, who has moved to a court party trying to seek re-election. The 2 senators moved to the APC, and some House of Representative members have also moved to the APC. And for Governor Ademola Adeleke, he is running for governorship under the Accord Party, but he believes that he stands a chance. But let's see what happens.
All right, I think there's another story coming from PDP, still on politics. PDP stakeholders launch new reconciliation bid. I think
that would
need
be
to
in their
give
best
us
interest.
that's on page 6.
It's better. Like people say, when two brothers are fighting, visitors or neighbors will share their food.
Definitely.
So that is what is happening to the PDP.
Yeah, so last newspaper for today, Sunday Sun.
All right, so the Sun newspaper. The last
Pressure, election timetable, electronic transmission. Pressure mounts on INEC, National Assembly, right? NAS.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ramadan, Muslim. Northern groups want election dates shifted, say Muslim voters will be disenfranchised. Manual transmission may compromise elections' integrity. Stakeholders tell Senate reps to resume plenary on Tuesday, and that's on page 18, 25, and 27.
Afenifere raises alarm over insecurity in Yoruba land, saying persistent attacks, kidnapping in Kwara, Kogi, Ondo, Oyo, worrisome, calls on Southwest governors to buckle up on security.
All right. Trump elevated Middle Belt crisis to global attention. T.Y. Denjuma. We need more Trump missile strikes. Anglican primate.
Okay, Afa Memorial Arcade, 24 years after neglect of bomb blast victims' grave, evoke emotions and painful memories. Community leaders urge Sanwo-Olu to renovate, to reparate family. It's on page 4 and 5 of the newspaper.
All right, the last story from me. Entertainment has been my lifelong dream. Theodora Ibekwe, UK-based entertainer. That's on page 3 of Sunday Sun.
2027 ADC is Tinubu's greatest nightmare. Mwodo, democracy being emasculated under president's watch, is on page 20 of the newspaper. And that brings us to the end of the newspaper review segment of the program this morning.
Yeah, so in case you're interested in any of the headlines from any of the dailies, you can just quickly grab a copy and then have more idea or information about a particular story. Information is power. If you're informed, all things will be
All right,
good. Yeah.
so we'll see you soon. So stay glued. We'll be right back.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Leveraging mentorship to be able to choose careers and do the right things and just move ahead. So we have joining us in the studios this morning to help make sense of the discussion, Captain Caleb Danladi, who is doing a lot of work around motivating, mentoring, and helping a lot of young people around Nigeria understand their purpose. As we discuss our topic that says career paths, leveraging success by mentorship in 2026. All right, so we have Captain Caleb Danladi, who's joined us in the studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Danladi, for coming to our studio.
Thank you very much for having me, and Happy New Year.
Same to you. So let's talk about mentorship. How important? Because in this part of the world, we rarely even see people volunteer. We rarely even see people, just understand that you could go and learn and get better with time. How important is mentorship in achieving success in our lives?
Okay, that's a very important question because when we talk about mentorship, we look at a structural relationship between someone who is more experienced and someone who is less experienced, just in a layman language.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? It means that someone who is less experienced is going to learn from someone who is more experienced, which is very important. If you look at the career path today, it's not linear. The career path today is very, very complex. What does that mean? It means degree alone is not sufficient for one to progress in 21st century. So it's very, very important for us to have people who are going to guide these youth, who are going to mentor them so that they can be able to achieve their aims in life. What do I mean? Mentorship is very, very, very crucial. Why is mentorship crucial? Because we have a lot of youths that don't have sense of direction. We have a lot of youths who have the potentials, but they don't even know where to go. So it's very important for these youths to learn from the experienced mentors. And then by guiding them, by giving them a sense of direction, at least they will realize their potentials. Because a lot of people have the potentials, but they don't know what to do. Yeah. A lot of youths are actually confused. And there are a lot of issues that have to do with parental pressure, where your parents will want you to study medicine, but you actually want to study law, or you want to study technical drawing, or whatever it is. So the parents cannot guide you because you need mentors that are going to guide you. Your parents can actually serve as mentors, which is very important. But parental pressure and mentorship are two different things. The parent wants you to do what they want, whereas the mentor will guide you. He through guidance, he will understand your strengths, he will understand your weaknesses, he will understand your plights, he will understand your emotions and what you want to do. So mentorship today is very, very important. Let's take, for example, today you want to empower youth and you want him to go into tailoring, whereas he wants to go into ICT. So even though if you train him in tailoring, no, he's not going to succeed because his mind is in ICT. So you need to guide him. So even though if you train him in tailoring, no, he's not going to succeed because his mind is in ICT. So you need to guide him. You need to mentor him. By mentoring them is very important. They understand the career path. And you are also exposing them to the network of professionals, which is very important. Networking is important today. Through mentorship, you will be able to identify their strengths and weaknesses. So you are guiding them. It's not like you are dishing out instruction. You are using them as slave to master way of doing things. No, mentorship is more than that. Mentorship is about counseling. It's about guidance. It's about identifying the strength of that particular mentee, and then you can be able to guide him in the particular part. And also, you can also mentor him when it comes to critical thinking, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to role model. So we have different types of mentorship when it comes to mentorship mentee programs.
Right. So quite very you really expanded that. But let's look at our African society. Looking at maybe some 20 years ago, 50 years ago, and all of that. Do we have mentorship ingrained in our African traditional systems and in our traditional system, in our cultural system? Is it like some people will say, is it a foreign idea, or do we have it ingrained in our African society?
Actually, we have mentorship today when it comes to our African culture, but I would say it as a crossroads, so it's not linear, because there are a lot of youths today that lacks mentorship and they lack direction. It's very important for you to know that we have a youthful population of over 70% of the country's population. So our greatest asset today is the youthful population below the age of 25. So while some are opportune to have mentors, majority of them don't have mentors. So mentorship is not something that you are borrowing from the foreign countries or from the foreign land. No, it's been in existence. Even when you come to the traditional way of doing things, there are mentors. When it comes to the religious way of doing things, there are mentors. However, how many of these youthful population are being mentored? It's few, because like I mentioned earlier, more than 70% of Nigerian population are below the age of 25. So you look at, is it the remaining 25% that will mentor 75%? So the number is quite complex. However, the youth themselves must take it as a point of duty to approach someone who will mentor you. If you go through the social media and you like the way someone is addressing national issues, you like the career path of someone, I believe that you will strongly meet him. You will approach him to see how he can be able to mentor and guide you. There are good mentors in the country. I give you an example. Baz Omotowa is a very good mentor who produced a book from storeroom to boardroom, and he's been writing on LinkedIn, oh, I want to mentor these certain people, and I've seen people coming together to learn from him, to learn from his experience. There are so many mentors like the likes of Tony Elemeli. They are also mentors. They mentor the younger generation. They ensure inclusivity. So it's very important. Today we have a lot of charity organizations and a lot of faith-based organizations that are mentoring people. Let's also move to the faith-based organizations today. If you look at the pastors, the older reverends are mentoring the younger ones. When we are growing up before, you always have one reverend in the church. But today you have a reverend and associate pastor, and in some churches you have also 2 or 3 pastors. The last time I was in my village, when we had a turbaning ceremony, we had a deputy imam that came. So you can see there's a mentorship is moving from part to part. But like I mentioned earlier, because of the demographic population, it's difficult for those people to have mentors, and it also have to do with mindset. You don't wait for mentors to meet you. You have to look for these particular mentors. We have people who are willing to mentor the youthful population. However, the youth themselves must show political will and commitment to be mentored, which is important. That being said, a lot of Nigerian youth have also shown commitment and political will as well to be mentored. And those who have been mentored, you can see they are successful in their various careers today.
Right. So let's come back to career paths. I'll come to mentorship since we're talking about career paths and mentorship. Right. One of the things that a lot of people in Nigeria struggle with is choosing careers. In fact, these days I know that there are careers that if you want to choose, you say, no, it's not a professional career. Why don't you go for something that is professional? It will save you time. It will save you the stress of coming back from, going with files from one office to the other. Let's look at career generally. Is Nigeria's career trajectory or projection, is it progressive in nature? And what are some of the careers that you've looked at and you'll be like, wow, because we also see this at home. You talked about parents could also be mentors. Some parents will say, if you're not a lawyer, if you're not a banker, if you're not maybe a doctor, or an engineer, you don't choose any other career because they look at the career projections. So as a mentor, if you're looking at career, what are some of the careers that you would readily come to your mind to suggest to young people? And now we are seeing an emerging career in ICT, in IT. A lot of people are also going there.
Career is very, very important when it comes to choosing a career. Today, in 21st century, career path is complex. It's not as linear as it used to be in the traditional days. What I mean by traditional days, I mean in the early 90s and the 80s and the 70s is quite different today. So the most important thing has to do with the youth themselves. The youthful population must know what they want. Like I mentioned earlier, your parents' choice is different from your own choice.
Amazing.
Like when I was coming up, my dad actually wanted me to study medicine, but deep in me, I wanted to be a marine professional, and I made him understand. And then he supported me at that point. So I think the parents have to also listen to their children. You have to sit down with your children to ask them what they want. You know, people have different skills. People have different aspiration in life. Some people from childhood, they want to become military personnel. So when you see a child that has such an ambition, I think it's better for you to support him. It's better for you to support him to achieve his dream in life. It's very, very important than for you to force him to go and study medicine or to go and study law where he is not interested. That's why today you find out that a lot of people that study law, they end up working in an engineering firm. But there is no career that is as good or as better than other careers. Degree today is not enough. I strongly advise our youth to engage in skill acquisition so that at least that will help you when you don't get a job. Mind you, 70% of the Nigerian population are below the age of 25 and they are graduating every day, and the number of graduates are increasing. So if you have a technical and vocational skill, you stand a better chance than somebody who just has a degree. What do I mean? That if you have a technical and vocational skill today, you will be able to set up your own business, your own SME or a startup, you know, and you can be able to employ others. By employing others, we are discussing about mentorship. You are training them, you are mentoring them. So you are increasing the number of youths that are in that particular career. You are guiding them, and then you are building the nation. You are not just building the nation, but you are contributing to the GDP of the nation, and you are reducing the unemployment opportunities. So, like I mentioned, there is no career that is better than others. If you want to be a lawyer, and if you have a mentor that will guide you through the law processes, it's very, very important. He will be able to guide you on different aspects of law. We have maritime law, property law, civil law, which is very, very important, rather than for you to be a blind person just being left in the ocean. So it's very important. So my advice is, wherever you find yourself, you have to be dedicated to your job. You have to be hardworking. You have to be resilient, because failure doesn't mean the end of life. Some people, once they fail, they give up. No, don't give up. You have to do it again to do it again. That is an ability for someone who is determined to be great in life. So failure is not the end of the life. So that is why mentorship is very, very important, because the mentors are going to put you through, they are going to guide you, they are going to see through your successes. Because when you have a mentor, it's like a structured work-based learning program. At every phase, they guide you. And what does that mean? It also means that you have a network of professionals. Once you are networking, getting a job is not going to be difficult for you. And also, you have to look at some aspect of also meeting people. There's another thing that you have a brand, and it's another thing that your brand is being accepted. So once you have a mentor that is guiding you, he'll be able to guide you on which skills that is marketable today. You know, you have to move into market-oriented skills, not just every skills. Oh, because people are going to fashion designing, oh, I'm going to go into fashion design. Because people are going to tailoring, oh, I'm going to tailoring. No, you must be able to look at the skills that are marketable, the skills that tailor the industrial need, the skill that tailor the 21st century need. Is very, very important. I know ICT is very, very important because the world is a global village. But without lawyers today, they won't be able to settle disputes. You know, without engineers today, when the camera broke down, who is going to fix it? So it's a value chain that everybody is important. Everybody is crucial. Whatever career you choose, you have to be hardworking. You have to be dedicated to your career. Some people, I think the challenges they are having today is, oh, I want to be a lawyer. And when you look at a successful soldier, you say, I want to be a soldier. When you look at somebody who is a pilot that has built a big house, you say, oh, I want to be a pilot. No, you have to stick to your focus. You have to be focused. You have to stick to a particular direction. And then that is where mentorship comes to play, because you won't find someone who is a lawyer and he will mentor an ICT person. No, it's very important to be skill-driven oriented mentorship program. So which is a problem, because it's a relationship between somebody who is more experienced and somebody who is less experienced. And then I strongly believe when you mentor somebody in a particular career, it goes a long way. It helps him not only about building and developing his skills, but also about building his leadership qualities. Because leadership is very, very important and it's very crucial today.
Right. So let's look at, you mentioned something. You said that when you mentor somebody, it builds his skills and allows him the ability to also build leadership. And I think that's very important in mentorship, because in Nigeria we talk about our leadership, that we struggle with leadership in different sectors. We even see in our banking sector, we've heard bank CEOs being immersed in corruption scandals and all of that. In our politics, we hear time and time again as to can having wrong mentors deviate people. For instance, people are looking up to our movie stars, people are looking up to celebrities, and sometimes you see that a lot of these young people are mentored by people from afar. Some of them don't even know they exist, but they mentor them one way or the other because they listen to their music, they idolize them, they see them as heroes, and sometimes they have character fallings, they have imperfection and all of that. Does the imperfection of a mentor rub off on the mentee? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay.
So when it comes to mentorship, I strongly believe that the mentee should pick the positive part of that mentor.
Right.
Because nobody is perfect today. Nobody is perfect. You have your shortfall, you have your downfalls, you have some areas of weaknesses, but I believe you should pick on the positive aspect. That being said, during mentorship, there should be integrity. So you won't bring somebody who is as corrupt as anybody to mentor you. Are you going to learn corruption? No. So when it comes to mentorship, I think you have to choose your mentors wisely. You have to choose somebody who has integrity, who will be able to speak to you, who you'll be able to learn the core ethical values. And it's not somebody today that you will find him on the roadside getting drunk. So you too, he's going to mentor you on the drunk aspect. That's one thing. You talk about issues about musical stars and whatever. You pick in the positive value from them, because you are not in contact with them one-on-one. So now we are discussing about mentorship, that you are in contact with them one-on-one. And it's very important for you to choose your mentors wisely. If, for instance, a lady now wants to choose a mentor, it's not somebody that's going to have a relationship with her. It's somebody that is going to mentor her through her career, guide her, be like a fatherly figure, be like a father to her, so that when she grow up through her career, she'll be able to reflect back to say, oh, without this person, I would have not been here today. We have seen them in Nigeria today. We have great mentors that have mentored a lot of younger generation, and they are doing excellently well. So when it comes to choosing your mentor, you have to choose your mentors wisely. You don't have to choose people of questionable character. You don't have to choose somebody today that he doesn't have time to mentor you. He's in this court today, he's in the EFCC arm tomorrow, he's this. No, you need somebody who has integrity. Mind you, you are learning from that person. You have to pick the core positive values. You have to learn very, very important values from that particular person, which is very important today.
All right, so I'd like to ask the next question now about the fact, because you mentioned about learning values, and let's talk about how busy a lot of mentors get these days. I know you are a mentor, and you yourself are a very busy person. So, and this is one of the challenge where people have as to how do I make out time of my busy schedule to mentor, because the world seems to get very busy these days, and even parents really even have time for their children. We've heard stories of fathers who are always going out and coming back at night, and maybe the day they decide to stay at home, children is calling them, who are you? Are you looking for somebody? And I say, I'm just father, I've been one paying rent, but I don't see you now. When I wake up, they tell me my father has gone out. So that's the kind of world we live. It is very dynamic, very moving. People get so engaged, especially people who stay in towns like Lagos and the rest of them, that traffic could keep you have to leave very early in the morning. How do you find time to get mentored? Because you yourself, that you are looking for mentorship, you also have a very crazy schedule. So how do you find time yourself to get mentored, and how do you also find time for your mentees as a mentor? Or do you just mentor them from afar and say, okay, I'll be a good person, anybody can pick lessons along the way as I work, but I will not dedicate time? How do you manage that scenario?
Okay, that's a good question. I think it's very important when it comes to mentor and mentee relationship. It's not all about learning. It's not all about, oh, keeping someone and teaching. These are the skills you require. These are what and what you require. The world is a global village. You can mentor someone even virtually. Today we have Zoom communication. While here in Nigeria, I do connect with people in Europe via Zoom. There are conferences that I don't have to be present today via Zoom. So it's very important. Even within the shortest period of time, they can also mentor you virtually, which is important. And I've seen it where they are put, oh, at this particular time, I'm going to talk about X, Y, Z. Even when you appear in television, you know, people look onto you, the way you present yourself, the way you address people, it goes a long way. Another important aspect is, even in your busy schedule, you delegate tasks and authority. Delegation is a skill, because when you delegate, oh, they tend to understand, oh, this is a leader. He delegates tasks, he gives us tasks, and he gives us timeline to meet up with that task, which is very, very important today. In any industry you work, if there is no delegation, there is micromanagement, you don't seem to get a positive result. So delegation of authority is very, very important. And one of the crucial aspects of mentorship is about sense of ownership. Everybody must have that sense of ownership. So even if you are not there, they will be able to do something, right? You will be able to delegate authority, because you won't be there forever. You will be able to delegate authority to your staff, you'll be able to delegate authority to your mentee, you'll be able to delegate authority to your trainees, so that they will have that sense of ownership. Without that sense of ownership, I don't think they'll be able to develop a confidential leadership skills that they'll be able to stand firm when taking decisions. So it's very important in that aspect.
All right. So another thing that we've seen is that mentors are maybe running away because from their means, because before now, the kind of African society we had was that if you have given birth to a child, you basically do not own the child alone, right? The whole community has a child. So the community had a responsibility towards mentoring. People from afar. Some of them don't even know they exist, but they mentor them one way or the other, because they listen to their music, they idolize them, they see them as
because leadership is very, very important and it's very crucial today.
Right. So let's look at, you mentioned something. You said that when you mentor somebody, it builds his skills and allows him the ability to also build leadership. And I think that's very important in mentorship, because in Nigeria we talk about our leadership, that we struggle with leadership in different sectors. We even see in our banking sector, we've heard bank CEOs being immersed in corruption scandals and all of that. In our politics, we hear time and time again as to can having wrong mentors deviate people. For instance, people are looking up to our movie stars, people are looking up to celebrities, and sometimes you see that a lot of these young people are mentored by people from afar. Some of them don't even know they exist, but they mentor them one way or the other, because they listen to their music, they idolize them, they see them as heroes, and sometimes they have character fallings, they have imperfection and all of that. Does the imperfection of a mentor rub off on the mentee? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay.
So when it comes to mentorship, I strongly believe that the mentee should pick the positive part of that mentor.
Right.
Because nobody is perfect today. Nobody is perfect. You have your shortfall, you have your downfalls, you have some areas of weaknesses, but I believe you should pick on the positive aspect. That being said, during mentorship, there should be integrity. So you won't bring somebody who is as corrupt as anybody to mentor you. Are you going to learn corruption? No. So when it comes to mentorship, I think you have to choose your mentors wisely. You have to choose somebody who has integrity, who will be able to speak to you, who you will be able to learn the core ethical values. And it's not somebody today that you will find him on the roadside getting drunk. So you too, he's going to mentor you on the drunk aspect. That's one thing. You talk about issues about musical stars and whatever. You pick in the positive value from them because you are not in contact with them one-on-one. So now we are discussing about mentorship, that you are in contact with them one-on-one. And it's very important for you to choose your mentors wisely. If, for instance, a lady now wants to choose a mentor, it's not somebody that's going to have a relationship with her. It's somebody that's going to mentor her through her career, guide her, be like a fatherly figure, be like a father to her, so that when she grow up through her career, she'll be able to reflect back to say, oh, without this person, I would have not been here today. We have seen them in Nigeria today. We have great mentors that have mentored a lot of younger generation, and they are doing excellently well. So when it comes to choosing your mentor, you have to choose your mentors wisely. You don't have to choose people of questionable character. You don't have to choose somebody today that he doesn't have time to mentor you. He's in this court today, he's in the EFCC arm tomorrow, he's this. No, you need somebody who has integrity. Mind you, you are learning from that person. You have to pick the core positive values. You have to learn very, very important values from that particular person, which is very important today.
All right, so I'd like to ask the next question now about the fact, because we mentioned about learning values, and let's talk about how busy a lot of mentors get these days. I know you are a mentor, and you yourself are a very busy person. So, and this is one of the challenge where people have as to how do I make out time of my busy schedule to mentor, because the world seems to get very busy these days, and even parents really even have time for their children. We've read stories of fathers who are always going out and coming back at night, and maybe the day they decide to stay at home, children is calling them, who are you? Are you looking for somebody? And I say, I'm just father, I've been one paying rent, but I don't see you now. When I wake up, they tell me my father has gone out. So that's the kind of world we live. It is very dynamic, very moving. People get so engaged, especially people who stay in towns like Lagos and the rest of them, that traffic could keep you have to leave very early in the morning. How do you find time to get mentored? Because you yourself, that you are looking for mentorship, you also have a very crazy schedule. So how do you find time yourself to get mentored, and how do you also find time for your mentees as a mentor? Or do you just mentor them from afar and say, okay, I'll be a good person, anybody can pick lessons along the way as I work, but I will not dedicate time? How do you manage that?
Okay, that's a good question. I think it's very important when it comes to mentor and mentee relationship. It's not all about learning. It's not all about, keeping someone and teaching. These are the skills you require. These are what you require. The world is a global village. You can mentor someone even virtually. Today we have Zoom communication. While here in Nigeria, I do connect with people in Europe via Zoom. There are conferences that I don't have to be present today via Zoom. So it's very important. Even within the shortest period of time, they can also mentor you virtually, which is important. And I've seen it where they are put, at this particular time, I'm going to talk about X, Y, Z. Even when you appear in television, people look onto you, the way you present yourself, the way you address people, it goes a long way. Another important aspect is, even in your busy schedule, you delegate tasks and authority. Delegation is a skill, because when you delegate, they tend to understand, this is a leader. He delegates tasks, he gives us tasks, and he gives us timeline to meet up with that task, which is very, very important today. In any industry you work, if there is no delegation, there is micromanagement, you don't seem to get a positive result. So delegation of authority is very, very important. And One of the crucial aspects of mentorship is about sense of ownership. Everybody must have that sense of ownership. So even if you are not there, they will be able to do something, right? You will be able to delegate authority because you won't be there forever. You'll be able to delegate authority to your staff, you'll be able to delegate authority to your mentee, you'll be able to delegate authority to your trainees, so that they will have that sense of ownership. Without that sense of ownership, I don't think they'll be able to develop a confidential leadership skills that they'll be able to stand firm when taking decisions. So it's very important in that aspect.
All right. So another thing that we've seen is that mentors are maybe running away because from their means, because before now the kind of African society we had was that if you have given birth to a child, you basically do not own the child alone, right? The whole community has a child, so the community had a responsibility towards mentoring people, right? By the age grade system, you know, like in my society, there's like a age grade system that you need to pass through to be brought into adulthood. So if you've not passed through, so that's a system where the mentor, you know, teach you on discipline, they'll teach you on how to be prudent. So if you are harvesting, let's say 5 tubers of yam, during that training season, you'll be taught that you're not supposed to eat the 5, right? Maybe you can eat 2 and keep 3. In the worst case scenario, you even eat 3 and keep 2. But that's the highest that you can do. Trying to teach you so you know that not everything that comes in has to finish, financial management and the rest of it. So it's like a traditional system that teaches. But I like to bring a question now to you and ask about this kind of systems that should we have like schools for mentorship? Do we have specialized schools for mentorship, for teaching mentorship skills to a group of people? Should we have like do you think that it will help to have like, I know there are a lot of conferences and mentors, but maybe brought into the Nigeria, and we know that okay, these are the mentorship centers we have in different places? Because if you also look at the level of decadence in the society, these persons are mentored negatively. Somebody was saying the other day that even those who do, let's say you even do drugs, or people that do things that are against government, they are mentored wrongly. But what kind of systems do you think should be put in place by the government, by spirited individuals like yourself and the rest, to help correct the anomaly that we have in the society presently?
Okay, it's really crucial for us to mentor the younger generation. A good mentor, wherever you are, whether you're in a classroom, if you have a lecturer, people look onto him. All right. Today, if you go to our societies and people look onto people as mentor, even without having one-on-one contact, because of their values, because of how they view the society, because of their leadership and mentorship qualities. If you also go to the classrooms, there are ways where students look up to this teacher. They also look up to this teacher because they have 1 or 2 things or skills they can pick. Let's go back to the drawing board classroom. Very important. Whether you are in the classroom or you are in the laboratory, as a teacher, the students look onto you as a mentor. You are not only teaching them, but you are mentoring them. It's not mere coming to tell me, oh, makes X plus Y is equals to Z. No, but there are some skills that they will learn from you. There are some guidance that you guide them. When it comes, you also talk about careers. So that's why in schools today we have career days, where the younger generation today, you see small children like my son, the other day he wore some kind of building engineer's cloth, and he refused to remove it for the whole day. Why? Because they are exposing him to engineering career. And then he loves his tools. You look at from there, children begin to pick up. Oh, I want to be an engineer. I want to be a pilot. I want to be a soldier. Why? It's because of this career day. Career day is crucial when it comes to mentorship. That is in school because you are teaching, but you don't know that it's a mentorship program that is ongoing, because students are beginning to learn different skills. Students are beginning to know that, oh, when I grow up, I will become X, Y, Z, which is important. As a teacher, you have to look at yourself as a mentor to the children, which is very important to the student, I mean. The students should look at you as someone they should be able to emulate, both when it comes to skills, interpersonal relationship, and character-wise. It's very, very important.
Skills, interpersonal relationship, character-wise.
Yes. They should be able to look onto you. But when you are a teacher and you come to class drunk, what are they learning from you? No. So in my opinion, yes, there are programs for mentorship, and it's important to incorporate it. Yes, it's very important and crucial. However, the basic teaching themselves, the teachers themselves should see themselves as mentors and role models. So it doesn't start from students. It starts from the teachers training school, where the teachers themselves will be equipped with all the necessary skills to serve as mentors. Let's take, for example, now, a teacher who is teaching nursery school students should be able to teach the student about how for you to learn about interpersonal relationships, mentorship skills is very important, teamwork, problem solving, leadership skills. How do we learn these leadership skills? It's from our teachers, it's from our lecturers. It's very important, even though there's no specialized curriculum. However, there are some where you learn mentorship when you are doing some courses. There are courses about mentorship. But in a broader view, I would say that the teachers themselves has a key role to play. The religious leader has a significant role to play because people look onto them. When you go to church, when you go to mosques, they should be able to talk about leadership, positive characters. Career days are very, very important. The traditional rulers have a large followers, and then people look onto them. If people look onto the traditional rulers, that means they are mentors. So they have a significant and crucial role.
Think that I cannot do mentorship because mentorship is for people who have money. We talk about career mentorship. A lot of people monetize a lot of things today. So in their head is like, who should I pick as my mentor? I'm thinking, okay, let me pick Elon Musk. That's the kind of mentor I want. Or maybe Donald Trump. Can we have people in Africa? Can we have people in Nigeria that what is there? Should mentors be tied to financial status? Is that mentorship tied to financial status? I'm going to ask the question. That's question number one. Then question number two is that how do I get a mentor to mentor me? So two questions. Let me be clear. Question number one: should mentorship be tied to financial status? Then number two: how do I get somebody? If I have somebody I really want the person to mentor me, and maybe the person, I'll just see the person from afar. How do I make myself available? How do I get myself introduced for this person to now decide to mentor me? I don't know if
it's quite clear. Right. Yes. So mentorship is not attached to financial status. No. It has nothing to do with financial status. It has nothing to do with religious status. It has nothing to do with ethical status. Once you are a mentor, irrespective of where you come from. It's very important. There are people who are gifted in mentoring people. When you board a bus and you are with your son, you meet someone, immediately that person will start interacting with you or with your child. There are people who are like that. And there are also wealthy people that don't even care about others. So it has nothing to do with financial status. It has something to do with the will. It has something to do with passion. Our passion to bring up people. Our passion to develop people. Our passion to train people. Our passion for people to look onto me as a figure, which is important. So poverty is not a barrier for mentorship. No, I totally disagree with that. Because when someone has these skills are gifted and some you can learn. It's very important for us to know that it's when you have passion for something, monetary value is not involved. Yes, monetary value is involved in some aspect. When you want to empower somebody, when you want to support somebody, yes, we can talk about that. But when we talk about the general mentorship scale, the landscape, I strongly believe that it has to do with passion. It has to do with somebody who is willing to help, who is willing to support. That is, in my own opinion, exactly.
Then how do I get somebody to mentor me? Somebody I've been seeing from afar, and I need this person to mentor me.
it's very important for you to approach them. That's the easiest way. I look at people who are mentors in LinkedIn and I write them. I say, okay, I would like to connect with you, and I connected with them, and then I learned a lot from them, which is very important. And then another thing,
you yourself get mentors.
Of course, I have a lot of mentors. I have people who I look onto, which is important. And then I look onto them career-wise. I learn a lot about careers, because even as exposed I am, I still need direction when it comes to career. Everybody still need direction, because we are growing every day. You know, knowledge is dynamic, things changes, so it's very important. So it's very important for you to approach them, talk to them, and there are also career boot camps where you can go and actually get mentored. There are people who are willing to mentor people. You can go through television, the media houses, they are all there. There are motivational speakers that talk about mentorship, so it's very important for you to follow them through their social media handles. It's very important. But as a matter of fact, you can't just sit at your comfort zone and expect a mentor to come to you. You have to step out of your comfort zone. Your parents themselves are the first mentors at home. They can mentor you, because sometimes when you see the character of a child, you have to go back to the house to look at his parents, you know what they are. So it's very important. If it is somebody who is always beating his wife, there's nothing you can learn from that person. It's not a mentor. Will he mentor you how to beat your wife when you grow? No. You need to learn the positive aspect. Like when we are ushering into 2026, we say we have to leave the old things that have passed away, and we have to pick the positive things from 2025 into 2026. That's what mentorship is all about. You need to pick the positive character from that person. There's something that might have attracted you to that person. Is it the way he talks? Is it the way he relates to people? Is it his leadership qualities? Is it his academic qualification? Is it his career path? So it's very important for you to understand guidance as well. The parents themselves are also mentors and guidance. And there are a lot of organizations, like I mentioned earlier, like my organization, that will go into rural areas, raise awareness about the importance of certain careers. Over the year 2024, 2025, I've been on the forefront to talk about just inclusiveness when it comes to marine and blue economy result. Let me take the recent ones. In 2023, 20% compared to pass rate of 30%. What does that mean? It does to mentor them how to get the right certification, which is important, how to comply with documentation, which is very, very important and crucial. But above all, you can produce all the fabrics today, you can sew the fabrics today. You need a platform, right, to market your product. So we train them also on digital marketing. And then we bring in mentors to mentor them. And there are people they look onto. And I can say that today they are high up there. Some of them are degree holders, but actually they have the skills that they work to support themselves, which is important. Another aspect is about women empowerment. In the past, we realized that we have to move away from the traditional philanthropic way of doing things. That means giving people fish. We have to teach them how to fish. And we decided to invest and mentor women when it comes to skill acquisition, when it comes to women empowerment. We support them with startups, some rare animals. And then today, these women come back to train others. So you can see there's a transfer of knowledge and there's mentorship as well. So which is important. And today, some of them can be able to cater for their families. And they don't longer rely on us giving them food, because they have food for themselves. And then some of them that have even had tailoring shops today, they are employing others. What does that mean? It means that they are contributing to the economy of that particular place and to the economy of Nigeria in total. And what does that mean? They are reducing the unemployment because they are employing others. And they are mentoring people, because you're teaching someone how to sew. Somebody that look up to you that you don't have hope in the past, and now that you have hope, you are a mentor to that person, and he would like to be like you.
Right. So we're probably out of time now. I'd like to ask now, for mentors that you see some of your mentees turn against you, and we've seen even in politics, we've seen in business, some of the persons you mentor turn. How do you handle that situation? That's the last question we have.
Okay, for us, we operate in a non-profit cycle, not in the political cycle where we run the father and godson, and so no. Ours is totally different. We do it out of passion for humanity, not to get something, not to get something in return. We do it out of passion to ensure that the hopeless have hope, to ensure that people who don't have hope are being given hope. People who have lost it in life, definitely we give them light for them to come up. So we don't look at that aspect whether they will turn against you. No. When we are doing something for humanity, when we are serving the cause of humanity, we don't look at the negative aspect. We look at the positive aspect of it.
All right. Thank you so much, Captain Geleb Danladi, who is also the chairman of the Geleb Danladi Foundation, for coming to our studio and talking to us about career paths and mentorship. We hope to, and with the work you've done, you've mentioned about 500 women or more that have been trained by our foundation over time, and we hope to have more mentors in Nigeria who are selfless like yourself and put out a lot of work to help our country grow. I wish you all of the best. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
So welcome back to the program. I had a chat with Captain Geleb Danladi on the need for mentorship in 2026. It's a new year, still a new year, and there's a lot of need for us to get the right mentorship, to get the right experience, to get the right learning process to be able to put our life out there and go after our goals. I know a lot of persons have asked me over the years, how do I get my dream, especially in a country when people seem not to want to give you opportunities, when you do not have the requisite experience, and they're not also ready to offer the ground for experience. People want to approach people that are already experienced. A lot of work demands people that are experienced in one sector or the other. For instance, let me use my industry for instance. If you are into broadcasting or you are into, television, media, radio, that ecosystem, I've been around for quite a while and I know how things work. A lot of persons will say, I love talking on radio, but no TV station is giving me opportunity. I love talking on TV, nobody's giving me opportunity. The same with radio. How do I break for the other job? And that's a process of mentorship. You connect with people who've been in the profession for quite a while, because you may need their reference, you may need their contact, you may need their base to be able to strive in the profession. And you cannot rule out the role of a professional experience. You cannot also rule out the role of, ideas being shared by one person to the other. Myself, I have people in the profession that I could call and ask, please, I need a recommendation. I need you to do me a letter. I need you to write this for me, because come on, you're going to need this. And mentorship becomes a crucial part. And as I just said, I reminisce on days where, my mentor could tell me, this is how this word is pronounced. This is, sometimes the mentorship is not even by the things you say. It happens even by the things you observe, their dedication to work, right? Absolutely amazing. I remember one of my head of stations back in the day. Our dedication to work is something that you cannot even imagine. Even when she's down, she has to be at her duty post. And she'll tell you, this is what I signed up for. I have to be at my duty post. That's mentorship, learning, getting to understand that the work must go on and you must be around because you signed up for it, and you have to put yourself down to do the work at the end of the day and not just titles. And we see this, how amazing it is, right? For people who are into this industry or are into broadcasting. So like Galam Nalali was talking about the role of mentorship. Even as a teacher, you are a mentor. So you do not just see yourself as a teacher. You say, oh, I'm a teacher, I go to classes, I teach these children. But away from teaching, you are also a mentor. How are you mentoring the people under your tutelage? How are you mentoring the people who are working with you? By your lifestyle, by your commitment to duty, you'd never miss a class. That's mentorship. You are teaching the people that if you have a contract with somebody, you must show up, and you don't just give excuses every time and run around with excuses. You do not miss your class, you do your notes properly, you pay attention to detail. That's you as a teacher mentoring those that are under you, right? So mentorship is very important. We keep seeing it in our daily lives where we need to constantly be the bridge where our people could feed off and get better, and sadly, today, a lot of people are very individualistic and a bit more selfish in their approach to life. But back in the day, when you are doing a business and your business is thriving, you want to look at and look at and see other people I can teach this business, other people I can, show what I'm doing, other people I can reach out to them and let them understand how to do this particular business. And when you mentor people, what you're also doing is that you are learning in the process, because one of the ways you learn is by teaching, by helping. When you teach people, you become better with what you know, and you're also building a long line of people that are connected to you. I remember one of the days, one of the persons that have mentored me very closely called me and actually said, I have this person, and this person is looking for a social opportunity. Can you assist? And I was very much ready, to be of assistance. So when you build, when you've mentored people, you're also building a long line of associates, people that could stand shoulder to shoulder with you tomorrow. You never can tell the wind of life where it will blow anybody, right? It could blow the mentor to the top, it could blow your mentee to the top. But for instance, let's even use what we have now in Nigeria. The former Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, he was Chief of Defense Staff, and we had the Minister of State for Defense, and we had the Minister of Defense. But the Minister of Defense resigned on health grounds. You saw when he did that resignation on health grounds. And the former CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, was now appointed as the Minister of Defense. Remember that when he was Chief of Defense Staff, the Minister of State for Defense was his boss. But the same Minister of State for Defense now, he is the boss. Because remember, he was not appointed as Minister of State for Defense. He was appointed as Minister of Defense. So he is the senior minister in the Ministry of Defense, leading and harmonizing policy with the junior minister in the Ministry of Defense, who just some months back was his boss as the Chief of Defense Staff. So that's how the win of life can be, right? So mentorship is not slavery. And some persons mistake mentorship as a slavery. So because you are mentoring somebody, or you've assisted somebody before, the person must completely sell his will for you. No. Human beings have will, we have emotion, we have plans, we have aspirations. And a lot of persons will want to go ahead and do what they want to do and pull up their aspiration and go through life with what they want to do. So if you are mentoring somebody, you must also give the person opportunity to be his own person, to speak his own mind. And you should, take inputs, even as a mentor, as a mentee. You should be ready to get correction and get advice. You review, and at the end of the day, make your decision for yourself, because you are the best person that will decide what happens in your life. No other person can decide better than you. So it's been wonderful. Thank you so much, Captain Gela Danadi, for that, a session where we learned about mentorship in 2026, and we hope we get mentored the right way and go ahead to achieve great things in my life. My name is Ubongo Soro. Sadia will come up with the next segment. Stay with us. It's still Global Morning, and we are here to make your weekend comfortable, beautiful, and amazing. We'll be right back.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
Every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
New Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive. And in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
Good morning once again and welcome to Global Morning on Global Television Abuja, the place where stories come alive, ideas sparked, and the moment that matter takes center stage. I am Sadia Yakubu and I will be your host for the next few minutes. DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channels 276. You can also watch on YouTube using the Global TV NG. Around today's segment of the program, we'll be talking about cholera outbreaks and poor sanitation in Nigeria. First, let's get a small background of the topic of discussion. Nigeria, an Africa's most populous nation, is rich in culture, diversity, and resilience. Yes, beneath its vibrant cities, a growing economy lies a persistent public health crisis, cholera outbreaks driven by poor sanitation. Cholera is not a new disease here, but in Nigeria, it continues to claim lives year after year. Cholera is a severe diarrhea disease caused by bacterium Vibrio cholerae. It spreads primarily through contaminated food and water. Without prompt treatment, cholera can cause dehydration and death within hours. But cholera is preventable, and that is what makes it a continued presence in Nigeria so concerning. Nigerian experiences recurrent or reoccurring cholera outbreaks, especially during the rainy season. States in northern region, such as Kano, Borno, Zamfara, some part of Niger, Benue, and other states are often heavily affected. Flooding during heavy rains contaminates water sources, spreading the bacteria rapidly. Whereas in many communities, access to clean drinking water remains limited. According to public health report, millions of Nigerians still rely on unsafe water sources such as rivers, shallow wells, and surface water. The result, of course, thousands of infections and preventable deaths, particularly among children under 5. Open defecation remains a major challenge in some rural and unserved urban areas. Toilets are either unavailable or unaffordable. Waste disposal systems are inadequate. Drainage systems are often blocked with refuse, creating breeding grounds for diseases, of course. When human waste contaminates water supplies, cholera spreads. Rapid urbanization has also worsened the situation. Informal settlements in cities like proper sewage systems and waste management infrastructure. During flooding, contaminated water flows directly from homes and drinking sources. Cholera outbreaks place immense pressure on healthcare systems. Hospitals become overcrowded, medical supplies run short, families face financial strains from treatment costs. Beyond health, cholera affects education and economic productivity. Children miss schools, adults are unable to work. communities already facing poverty and pushed further into hardship. In conflict-affected areas such as part of northeast Nigerian, displacement and overcrowded camps increase vulnerability to outbreak. And my guest, Dr. Muhammad Alhaji, who is a public health specialist and behavioral scientist with a PhD in public health. He works on infectious disease control, sanitation, and outbreak response across Africa and Asia, supporting government on surveillance, risk communication, and prevention strategies. His expertise focuses on why diseases like cholera persist despite knowing solutions, especially infrastructure and behavioral gaps. He is a country director and engagement director at Busara, translating evidence into practical public health action. Good morning, Dr. Muhammad Alhaji. Nice having you on Global Morning, the weekend edition on Global Television.
Good morning, Sadia. Thanks for having me on this program.
Let's get started. The general understanding, let's start with the general understanding, even though I have given a brief explanation as per what I know about cholera. So you can start by telling us what is cholera and how is it transmitted in our communities?
Yeah, thanks, Sadia. Like you've mentioned earlier, it's an acute diarrheal infection caused by, Vibrio cholerae. It's a bacterium that invades the intestine, and the usual route is through feces, contamination of food sources, water sources from feces into the human system. And once they get into the system, they essentially invade the intestines and continuously secrete toxins. And these toxins are the reasons why the body, they continuously draw out fluid from the body and constant diarrhea. It's very deadly. Itself, the infection would not kill, the person. Rather, it's what it causes. That's rapid dehydration. Once it invades your intestines, then it causes continuous, removal of water from your body, and that translates in, watery stool continuously. If, an action is not taken, it's that dehydration that causes, death in the person affected. And just like you've mentioned, the root is feces, and, the conduit through which it gets into the body, are through water, food, and other, related. And that is why sanitation is very important when we're discussing cholera. So outbreaks are usually when you have outbreaks of cholera typically happens when you have, like a spike in feces contaminating water. Could be due to flood, could be due to, scarcity of water. And then, you have this water pushers using their trucks, which means because of, struggle for water, you have people kind of minimizing their usage just to, save and use what they have in the future. So that tends to limit kind of how, people properly sanitate, or wash their hands and other things that affect them. And in turn, it predisposes, or it opens up the risk through which, because you are not using adequate water to clean after yourself, to clean after your house and, your other utensils, that predisposes you to contaminating, the utensils, the tools, the containers that you use, which ultimately can get into your system and causes havoc. And the interesting part is an infected person, secretes in their feces, you see lots of this Vibrio cholerae, which means just one person can contaminate an entire community if their feces get into water supply system. It could be due to flood, like I mentioned. It could be due to contamination of utensils and tools. So yeah, it's a big issue. With proper management, you're able to kind of reduce the risk instantly. But then with poor management, the death could go as 20% of people dying, people affected in the cluster of the outbreak dying simply because there is no effective response. Yeah.
All right. The next question is, why is cholera considered a major public health problem in Nigeria?
Yeah, thanks. Because it's a simple answer. You can wake up in the morning, fine. Just between morning and evening, you can literally get dehydrated and dries up internally. So it's the speed by which it affects people and causes damage. It's the reason why it's a major public health issues. You wake up in the morning, you're fine, you get affected or you get infected, and then by evening, if proper intervention is not put in place, you can easily die. And then the feces, from infected person can easily move because, like I mentioned, you can have billions of Vibrio cholerae within the feces of an infected person. And once this gets about, it easily gets into the other person. There is hardly human-to-human kind of, infection, but you're able to transmit this through water sources, food sources, and other things. So it's a big issue in public health because of the speed. That's one. You get infected, you are down if effective response is not mounted, and then the speed with which it spreads. Those are the reasons why they are considered very important. And because of the infrastructural gaps that we have in places like Mina, for example, there is road construction going on, which led to disruption of water, public water supply system. This means people have to resort to other ad hoc kind of arrangement to get water. This is a big risk because it means, even the jerry cans, the people handling those jerry cans, kegs, putting water into, if any of them, for example, has contamination in their hands simply because they didn't clean up after themselves very well, for example, they can easily infect or transmit this species of bacteria into the water, and then they take it to a house. That house effectively gets kind of infected, and then it continuously moves rapidly. Like I said, one infected person can infect an entire community, and once somebody is infected, it literally can kill within a day. So that is why it is considered a public health issue of importance.
Regions in Nigeria are most affected by cholera outbreaks, and why?
Yeah, thanks. Nigeria is very big. Nigeria is very large. It's very diverse, and cholera happens due to several reasons. So, for example, if you go to riverine areas, you have people defecating, around shallow waters, and some people washing their clothes in those shallow waters. Some people even using those water for other things, not necessarily drinking, but by the simple, interaction with those water sources, you are kind of at risk, right? So riverine areas like Bayelsa, rivers are kind of, they tend to have this challenges more than other areas. But then the most affected areas tend to be up north. So I'm talking about northwest, north central, Borno, Yobe, and states around those regions. And even within the mid regions of the country, places like Niger, for example, are also affected. And the predisposing factors, like I said, in riverine areas tend to do with, people misusing shallow waters, open defecation, and usage of those waters that are untreated. You come to up north, you have challenges with public water supply system, either due to temporary disruption or due to perennial kind of absence of this water supply. So because of that, people tend to go for alternative sources of water. And in doing so, they are at risk. So the simple way that cholera can be kind of curtail the outbreak is by making available, public water system, because that's the best approach. When you have public water system, then the risk, and data has shown across the world, the risk is minimal. But once there is no public water system in place, then people are forced to use alternative sources. Could be well, and this well, sometimes they are dug very near latrine system or other disposal system. You have open drainages that are blocked due to perhaps people moving from rural areas to urban areas. So this rapid urbanization is leading to a lot of issues that lead to the outbreak. So an example, in many cities you go across Nigeria, you see heavy dump refuges, which once there is rainfall, for example, it sucks that entire dumps, and then the water kind of flows back into the community, either through open drainage system or through whatever sources. And because there is no proper running, water system, those, water that kind of drenched an entire refuse dump kind of gets back into the alternative sources that people use. And then they get that water and they are predisposed. And that is why we tend to see spikes in these outbreaks during rainy season, and especially when there are flash floods, because it means water has kind of gone into these dumps, into even open latrine, and several other block drainages, and this water gets back somehow to a public water system that people use, and they are easily predisposed. So deep, up north, northwest, north central, that issue is very prominent. But when you go to riverine areas, states around the waters, they tend to also have those risks, simply because water tends to be the easiest route through which this bacterium gets into the body to cause cholera.
So how does poor sanitation contribute to the spread of cholera?
Yeah, thanks. Just like I mentioned earlier, when you don't have running water, for example, you are automatically pushed to use whatever is available. And in most situations, you are forced to minimize water usage. I'm sure anybody that that grew up in Nigeria would have had a phrase around, "You are wasting water too much. It's very hard to get this water. You are wasting it too much." But by simply washing your hands, you are reducing risk of not just this bacterium getting into your system. You're protecting yourself against a lot of things. But because water scarcity is hard, that means people are not able to clean up after themselves as they should, as adequately as they should. And most times people think just washing their hands is enough, especially during outbreaks. Those are not enough. Most times you need soap and water, or sanitizer in the absence of soap and water, but those tend not to be available, so people just wash their hands. And even ash, I know in the past, before the emergence of a lot of this modern ways, people have used ash to wash their hands very well. This is often not the case. So people just wash their hands lightly and then they're off. So that predisposes them to this, the risk of contracting cholera. You go to communities and then you see the drainage system completely blocked. That means you are blocking passage of waste from different households. So now that kind of predisposes you to, whenever there is kind of rain, then rain tries to unblock that system, but it's not happening. Then it's kind of just, water will always find its way, right? So there is blockage, water is not moving, then there is rain, and then this spreads out whatever is in whatever is in those drainages. And remember that I told you that the primary source is feces. People defecating. So that's the primary source. So, and all of this waste tend to go through gutters, right? Especially in areas where you don't have proper sewage system, or where you have kind of latrines that does not even have roof. We tend to have this a lot in urban slums where people just make a makeshift kind of toilet, and then once there is rain, this because there it's open, it gets filled up, it overflows into these drainages, and like I said, it's feces, and those feces now get somehow into the water system. So proper sanitation means making sure that there is no open, we don't have refuse dump that is not taken care of, it's not cleaned, we don't have sewage systems that are blocked. We don't, and that will not happen by itself. It has to be done properly, either by the community, the government enforcing it, and everybody, right? So proper sanitation, or lack of it, and cholera outbreak, they go hand in hand. If there is proper sanitation, starting from the individual, doing proper hand wash, and then getting to the community, ensuring that the gutters are not blocked, then the risk of cholera is almost absent or near absent. But the absence of those means whenever those bacteria are available or are present in either drainages or open defecation that gets out, then it means these people are at risk.
What's access to clean water play in preventing cholera?
Come again? I didn't get all of the question.
I said, what role does access to clean water play in preventing cholera?
Yeah, thanks. That's all you need essentially for starters. So access to this clean water is the primary preventive approach. So it basically means, interestingly, the prevention is not really an intervention because water supply is a human right, providing quality water supply to people. It's one of the, SDG goals. So just by doing what you should do, right, it's enough to prevent, this cholera outbreak, right? So yeah, it plays a very key role because it's the starting point of, the cholera itself, the problem. Once you have, I'll give you an example. If you have, a tap in your house that runs, it means you are never bothered or worried too much about, doing proper cleanup, doing proper hygiene, personal hygiene, using water as you should, and you are not forced to kind of manage water. You are not forced to look for alternative sources. And in those alternative sources, in most situations, and I will go back to the example of people selling water in kegs that we popularly known as jerry can. These people, they go get water, you don't know the source, and then you are forced to buy because you need this water, right? And then you just hope that this water is from a good source, this water is handled properly, or that the jerry can itself is clean. The person selling it is, God forbid, has not kind of, contaminated the water. So you just buy because you don't have any source. And you are forced to do that only when there is no, access to, quality, water from either, government provided and running tap in your house. So that tends to be the situation. So clean water is the primary, step to lower the risk of cholera outbreak, then followed by, personal hygiene, which is also secondary to availability of, water system, quality water system, and then community, sanitation or community, proper environmental management, which is not littering places with, nylons and what have you, making sure that the drainages are free flowing. There are countries that you go, you see their gutters by the sides having, live fish moving around. I have seen this in Japan. So this tells you, the level some countries have gone in ensuring that their communities are in good shape, so much that the water that gets out, even from the house, are so clean that, life, like fish, aquatic lives can still survive in discarded waters. Thank you.
Let's move a bit to the public health and the government response. How has the Nigerian government responded to recent cholera outbreaks in the country?
As usual, most of the responses from the Nigerian government have been reactive in the sense that, government tends to have this surveillance system where suspected cases are requested to be reported. But even this system depends on the community understanding this risk, understanding some of these challenges, and getting, going to the, having contact with the public health system so that even the suspected cases can, be subjected to investigation to confirm those. So in most situations, because certain places are not really connected, to the public health system, so there is that delay, that gap from when you're having an outbreak to when it is reported to the public health system, to when the public health system itself subject some of the suspicion to investigation. So that gap tends to limit kind of government responses. But yeah, government tends to be reactive, not the best, but in doing that, they have been, to give credit to the health actors, they have tried their best. They do try their best. The federal government, Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, through one of its agencies, Center for Disease Control, they tend to be at the top of the situation in most cases. And because we have peak period during rainy season where flash floods and other kind of overflowing water tends to be the situation, so in most cases, the government tends to mount kind of response structure in states that are more at risk year in, year out based on previous experience. So this have been the case, and government tends to go in, do some temporary water clean up through chlorination, providing some vaccines to kind of reduce, like I mentioned earlier, the speed is the major reason why cholera is dangerous, because it can kill in a day, and then it can get spread. Everybody needs water all the time, right? So it can spread very fast and it can kill as soon as infected. So it's the vaccines that government tends to provide in the instances where there are outbreaks tend to help reduce those risks, but they are never the primary approach to limit. They are never the primary approach to curtail cholera, and that is why year in, year out we tend to have those episodes emerging. But yeah, government have been trying their best when there are those outbreaks. Depending on how community is able to push, suspicion to the public health system, and when those, those suspicions are confirmed, and as quickly as possible, responses are mounted.
Of Nigerian Center for Disease Control in managing cholera outbreak. Let me take that again. What is the role of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control in managing cholera outbreaks?
Yeah, thanks. Like I mentioned just now, the center has been at the forefront, of managing the outbreak across the country, and that is very crucial because having one central command providing support instructions to subnational level makes the situation, helps to bring these situations under control as quickly as possible because they have their eyes across all the states, they are able to learn and apply lessons as quickly as possible from states that are having spikes, or widespread outbreak, and these learnings are used to properly mount response in other states. So NCDC, as we call it, the Nigeria Disease Control Center for Disease Control, works with subnational government to ensure that there is proper coordination. They ensure that there is proper allocation of this vaccines, and across several pillars: risk communication, risk management, ensuring that there are updated information, IEC materials shared across states in language that people would understand, increase communication and information sharing through TVs, radios, and even social media. So that has been the way that NCDC kind of coordinates and ensure that responses are coordinated and very useful. I think another very important thing that they do is they have this SITREP, situation report, where they give weekly updates of the cholera outbreak across states. And these updates are very useful because they are complete. They give you breakdown distribution of these cases across the country, and they also share lessons learned and other challenges that have been, challenges that impede or reduce their successes. So that is very helpful because it's a weekly kind of update, and every state is, every state actor has access to this SITREP or situation report, and they're able to learn and continuously mount their response and share information and data. So yeah, this has been the way, and I think pretty much not bad at all. We can do better, but yeah, this has so far been the way the government responds, and NCD has been at the forefront of it.
How does big healthcare infrastructure worsen cholera mortality rates?
Yeah, thanks. Like I said, the situation, and this is the reason why we tend to have increased mortality in World Health, because World Health, whenever there is cholera outbreak, World Health Organization says that when you have mortality less than 1%, then you are managing your outbreak very well, right? But then in the event where you're having, mortality rate simply means people dying from this outbreak. Whenever, let's say, for example, you have 100 people, infected or, contracting this bacteria, if one person at most is dying or died from this case, then you're not doing so badly at all, because you can get your control 100%. Whenever this outbreak is happening, you expect some damages. But the moment you start to have more than one person, then it means you're not managing it very well. So, and in situations, this case fatality rate can go as high as 5, 10, and even 20%. In that situation, it means you're doing so badly, or in fact, you are not mounting any response at all. So historically, Nigeria has hovered between that 1 to 2, 3%, which means we're not doing very well, but at the same time, we're not doing so badly. And why is that happening? In most situations, you have the public health infrastructures, too far from the communities. When I say too far, I don't mean, geographically. So you have them in the community, right? You have primary health centers in the community, but for the people to make that steps to get to those, systems, those health facilities, it's still expensive to some people, right? So having those infrastructure is one thing. Ensuring that there is effective communication between, and people understanding why they need to visit these health facilities is important, especially during outbreaks or suspected cases of outbreak. Once you're having diarrhea, that is an emergency that should not be taken for granted, because just having to go to toilet once, twice, not cholera outbreak, nothing, you feel weak physically, right? So whenever you are seeing those increased cases, the idea is for people to report as quickly as possible. The good thing about this is that by simply providing, ORS, you're able to revert or forestall the impact of, the diarrhea till you get better through, proper treatment, because the water you lose from your body needs to be replaced instantly. And that is what cheap ORS will do for you, very cheap. But because those infrastructures, the public health infrastructures, although in many communities are within those communities, they are still too far in terms of affordability of people coming to those facilities. But in many locations, especially rural and semi-rural areas, those health facilities are not present, or they are present but very far. Some people, we've seen situations where people literally die on their way to health facilities. They delay going, but by the time they make that, they take that decision to visit health facilities, it is geographically too far from where they are, and transport system is a bit near absent, and then they have to make use of whatever is available. And before they get to those infrastructures, they die, or they go into almost irreversible, states, which ultimately still, leads them to dying. So yeah, this infrastructure, there is need to, and I see this effort from the federal government where, there is this push for primary health facilities at each ward. But just having the structures are not enough. We need those structures fully kind of furnished. Not just furnished, the tool, materials, and medicines need to be in place. And then ultimately the people need to understand that this is available, and it is their right to ensure that they utilize this and not let them go to waste. Thank you.
Dr. Muhammad Al-Haji, thank you for coming up the program this morning. So I think because of time, this will be stopping today. I hope and I wish to have you in the studio someday, maybe after Ramadan, where we can have more discussions about this particular topic.
Thank you, Sadia. Thank you for having me on this program.
All right, thank you very much. That's my guest, Dr. Muhammad Al-Haji, who is a public health specialist and behavioral scientist with a PhD in public health. Yes, we talked about cholera, and some people will be like, what's the meaning of cholera? Cholera outbreaks place immense pressure on healthcare systems. Hospitals become overcrowded, like I stated earlier. Medical supplies run short. Families face financial strain from treatment costs. When you face this cholera, when you encounter these cholera health challenge or cholera, you feel very, very weak. He has stated that you wash your hands properly, all right, sanitize your areas, keep your houses clean, make sure you take good food, clean water. I know, yes, in Nigeria now we are having a challenge of clean water. Yeah, but you can still try on your path. Get a clean water, sanitize your area, take your bath, wash your hands whenever you use the toilet. Wash your hands properly, either with any of the good soaps we have around. I don't want to mention brand. Let's not look as if I'm advertising any brand, but then you can just get good hygienic soap to wash your hands or sanitizer. Just keep yourself clean, prevent yourself from the issue of cholera. Already we have cholera outbreaks in the country, in so many parts of the states in the country. All right, we human waste and contaminated water supplies, cholera spreads very, very fast through water. Yes, through dirty water. We contaminate cholera. So whenever you're using any water, make sure the water is clean. Open defecation remains a major challenge in some rural and underserved urban areas. The toilets are either unavailable or unaffordable. Waste disposal systems are inadequate. Drainage systems are often broken with refuse, creating breeding grounds for diseases. Of course, when you're sick, you don't think straight. You don't think straight at all. In many communities, access to clean drinking water remains limited according to public health reports. Millions of Nigerians still rely on unsafe water sources such as river, shallow well, and then other means of getting water. Nigerians experience recurrent cholera outbreaks, especially during the raining season. Talking about cholera and what the doctor have said, he gave out some ways that we can help protect ourselves. Like this picture now displaying open defecation, where some men just knelt and then doing this in public. This is a drainage system. This is a waterway. When it rains, definitely it will flood and enter some houses. Water always creates ways for itself. So with open defecation like this, that's an unclean or unsafe water for us to use. And that's very, very dangerous for our health or to our health. We have a little girl from the image of us carrying water, crossing a drainage. Should I call this a drainage? Yeah. And you see it's unsafe because whenever it rains, the water will definitely find its way back into that very house, and then it's going to cause problems, it's going to cause diarrhea. And when you even, let me say, you have a running stomach for a few hours, you'll be very, very weak. Talk more of being admitted and you're doing this for a couple of days. So I'm using this as we are humans. I'm using this opportunity to plead to all our Nigerians or wherever you're watching from to always keep your environments clean. Make sure you take good care of yourself. Keep yourself healthy. Drink what's good. Drink what's healthy. Eat healthy. And stay away from things or dirty places that would make you face this challenge of a cholera outbreak. It might not be you, it might be your brother, your dad, mom, your neighbor, or someone very close and special to you. So please pass this message. And Dr. Muhammad, I pray you come to our studio someday so that we would have more of these discussions. As we wrap up today's episode of the program, I want to sincerely appreciate my guest, Dr. Muhammad Alhaji, for being part of the program, Global Morning Global Morning Weekend Edition on Global Television. Yeah, I want to thank you for spending your time with us. I hope to have you soon. We hope the conversations and stories we shared inspired you and gave you something to think about. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch up the full episode on YouTube using that Global TV NG. Yeah, join us next time for more insights, more voices, and more stories that matters. I am Sadia Yakubu on behalf of me and the entire production team. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe, stay focused, stay healthy. Bye for now.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
New Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive. And in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.